So it's week 4. I'm halfway through my first day. I just played the 2500 World Series freeze out Hold'em event. 40-minute clock day 1, loads of levels, and then 1 hour clock day 2, day 3. So probably actually one of the best events, one of the ones I was more looking forward to. I had a good table, it was going well. I had quite an active image. A guy opens to 1200 at 500 big blind. The low jack calls. I make it 5k on the button with kings. Just the caller calls again, and he's playing like 28k, so this makes the pot like 12,000 something. The flop is queen 10-9 with 10-9 of hearts, queen of something else. I have black kings. He checks, I bet 4k. He makes it 11k. I'm like, oh well, like if you got it, you got it, I'm all in. If you've got the king jack suited, the like set, 2 pair, whatever, I think I just have to run it because the pot's too big. Maybe he gets it in with ace queen. Maybe he gets it in with like jack 10 suited and like all the draws, so I have to just run it at this point. If I was deeper, or we're both deeper, maybe I call in position. So I get it in, and then he doesn't snap call with only 17k behind, so I was like, yes. Like I don't understand what he can raise and then not have an easy decision with, so that was nice. He eventually calls with king queen. Wow. That wasn't a very fun one. Under the gun opens, it's the same guy that had the king queen hand, so he's probably like the most fun player at the table, but like I'm not necessarily bad. I decided to flat with ace queen offsuit in the cutoff because all 3 stacks afterwards were jam stacks, and it's really nice if one of them just takes the spot here and they're going to take it with loads of hands that dominate, and it's not the end of the world to not 3-bet versus under the gun, even though I think at that point we're playing 700. So I call with ace queen, ace of clubs, queen of spades. The button calls as well, and everyone else folds. So that makes the pot 10,200. And the opener covers me. The guy on the button is kind of short. He's got like 20k or less. It comes ace of hearts, 6 of clubs, 4 of hearts. So he bets 2,000 into 10.2. I raised 7,200. The other guy folds. He now makes it 17,000, which is pretty annoying. Like, obviously he could have ace king, he could have ace 6 suited, he could have ace 4 suited, he could have 4s, he could have 6s. All of these hands are very far ahead, but there is a flush draw, and he did play that king queen offhand in that way, so I don't think I can fold yet. So I call. This makes the pot 44,000 and something, and I've got like 43.5k left. The turns are 4, and he just snap goes all in for my 43.5k effective, nearly pot. So the 4 is really good for my range because I called the 3-bet. Obviously it's good for his too because he 3-bet, but he just never wants to jam a boat on the turn when there's a flush draw. Because if he jams a boat, I fold a flush draw, that's terrible for him. I'm not entirely sure, but I just don't think he's ever got a boat now. Ace 6 suited, there's only 1 combo of left. So I lose to ace king and I lose to ace 6 suited. He probably can have the same hand, he can probably have ace jack. He can probably have draws. I think I just have to call. I'm not loving life, but I'm like, whatever, I call. And he has ace 6 offsuit.
Stop it.
Ace 6 offsuit. He opened under the gun with ace 6 offsuit. He was wearing a badge that said range converter, and he opened ace 6 offsuit under the gun. And as a result, he won a really big pot, and he busted me. Oh man. And it's just that little bit more infuriating because if he doesn't get there with the king queen, this hand obviously never happens. It's like, I don't know, man, it's just pretty tilling. I mean, he was a really nice guy. Like, he's someone I didn't mind losing to. But obviously, like, it's been over 3 weeks now and this stuff just, it's not getting old. I think I dealt with the first hand lost pretty well, like the kings against king queen, because I just thought, you know what, it's early on in the tournament. Like, this could have happened when I was deep. Like, this stuff's gonna happen. Like, let's get it out of the way early. I've still got loads of chips, whatever, let's move on. I felt like it didn't affect me. But then this second one, I've got another tournament to go play at the Wynn, 1600, but I just thought I'm gonna max late reg. I'm not gonna, like, I could have got there to play for half an hour before the dinner break, but I just thought I need a little bit of time just to have a small break.
1 eternity later.
After the 2.5k, I made it to the Wynn 5 minutes after late reg, which is pretty tilting because my taxis kept cancelling and then traffic, but very luckily, like, I phoned up and they said, okay, we'll put your chips in play and you just got to turn up and pay us straight away because I've played there a few times now, so they kind of know me. Which is what happened. I managed to get in with like 20 big blinds and then just ran like 6s into jacks in a relatively standard spot. So after 22 days straight of playing tournaments, I finally decided to take some time off. We went to a smash room, which I think is one of the most ideal places to go after some tilting time in poker.
Killing spree. Dominating. Rampage.
We went to a psychedelic Italian restaurant. We went to a show called Opium, which is a little bit like the show Absinthe, if anyone's seen that in Vegas. It's kind of like loads of crazy circus stuff in like a really small venue and loads of, I'd say like dark comedy, which is, it was pretty cool. Now I'm back for day 3 in week 4, so I'm nearly at the halfway point now. This is, yeah, day 24. Wow, it's going fast. I'm going to play the 1K Double Stack at the Rio today, which is one of the best, like, 1K Rio events. It's an hour clock. It's like a 5-day tournament. It would be a really weak field, but it's tournament poker, so let's see. So I just finished day 4 of week 4, and it was probably the most successful yet. I made my first day 3 of the 1K Double Stack. And it was a pretty sick grind. I started with 300K, about 100 big blinds. And then I got up to like 450, my table was great, moved to a new table, and then first hand, opened the hijack with King 6 suited, the button calls, both the blinds call, and the big blinds is like, kind of seems recreational, seems like just like older middle-aged guy. He's already asking like how many people are paid and seems to be like just chilling out. I imagine he's going to be very ABC. It comes King 9-6 with 2 clubs and a heart. I have spades. Checks to me. I decided to bet 29K into like, yeah, 40K-ish. The button calls, and now the big blind raises to like 90K and he's playing like 250. The button's playing like 100. So I just go all in with my King 6 of spades, thinking like if they have a better hand, I just have to go broke. Hopefully they've got like a super draw or maybe some like King Queens or maybe like 9-6 or something, but it doesn't feel like a great spot. And he had a set of 9s, so I've only got 2 outs. The button also told me he folded King Queen, so I had 1 out and I bricked. So that was a pretty brutal one. And then I grinded my way back up to like 500K, or maybe even like 600K. And then I defend 10-7 offsuit against like a low jack open. It comes 10-7-6 all clubs. He's got like 300K. The pot is like 65K, and he bets really big. He bets 45K into 65, which is really big on monotone, especially on a board better for me. So I thought he might have like ace-10 jacks or like ace of clubs X, and he might just run it. And there's so many bad turn cards for me, but I should have the best hand most of the time. So rather than play check raise jam or check call check jam in case there's a bad turn, I just ripped, because like I can have bluffs that way too, like ace of clubs 9, ace of clubs 8, maybe some other stuff, or at least it's perceived that I can, like, and I just don't see him ever folding ace-10 with a club or like overpair with a club, those type of hands. So I just go all in, and he thinks about it for a little bit and then puts it all in kind of annoyedly, and he has 10s. So I'm pretty much dead. I'm dead to like running 7s. And I did turn a 7, so I actually like, I had the sweat for the 1 out, but I lost that one. That left me with like 10 big blinds. And then I somehow got up to like 600K without being at risk. And then blind v blind, I just go all in for like 18 bigs, ace-4 off. He calls with ace-6 suited, pretty standard. And then I binked the 4, even though that would have been a chop most of the time, so that was pretty sick. I finished the day with 1.1 million. I think there's like 150 players left. It's not like crazy exciting yet, but it's like the biggest sweat I've had, so it's pretty nice. It just feels like a win to make a day 3 to actually have a little bit of a sweat. So tomorrow could be really exciting, or like it could just be like short-lived, but for now I'm living the dream. I did not win a bracelet today, unfortunately. I had my day 3 today. Started with about 35 big blinds, 1.1 million. The dream was alive. Still 153 people left though, which is a lot in tournaments, and obviously there's just so much variance, especially when the average stack is so low. But very first hand, I lost the flip for like 700k pot. And then I got pretty lucky. I went ace-8 versus kings versus like a button open. I just put him in for 15 bigs. It was going pretty well. I got up to 2.5 million. And then I moved to a table with a crazy guy. One hand, he free bets middle position with jack 9 offsuit. Another hand, he raises with queen 3 of spades in like the hijack. Bets 7-5-2, 2 clubs. The turn's the jack of clubs, so the flush gets there. With his queen 3 of spades, he bets again, gets raised, and then free bet jams for like 2.5 million or something crazy, like massive chips, and the guy just has a set, so he's drawing dead. So I had this guy on my table. I decided to pull off a 4-bet bluff against him, and then he 5-bet jammed on me. I had a pretty nice hand against him where we checked to the river on like jack 6-2, turn king completes the flop flush draw, river free, and I just bombed the river with a jack because I thought he wouldn't believe me, and he called me with ace high. So I got back to like 23 big blinds. It was 50-100, and then it folds to the button, who's a new player. He's a cash game reg. He opens to 2.2 bigs, 220k. I've got 2.3 million in the small blind with ace jack suited. I mean, I think jam is the standard play, but I thought this guy's probably going to fold too much to the jam because he's a cash game player. I think he's going to overfold this spot. So with ace jack of spades, I think you can do this sometimes. I decided to go for the small free bet, well, smallish. I made it 700k, so there's still projected fold equity. He might jam some bluffs, but more importantly, he still calls with like king jack suited, jack 10 suited, ace 9 suited. It's hands that might fold to the jam. So I dominate a lot more stuff, and if he jams, I just have to call because I have the price, and like obviously he might have bluffs, or he might just have like ace jack himself or like pocket 10s, so I just have to run it once he jams, and he had queens, so. That was that, cashed for just over 9k. Pretty reassuring run, I think I played great. Yeah, feeling pretty good. Tomorrow is a really fun event, a mixed no limit hold'em and PLO round of each, $600, and then if I bust that, it's the 3k 6 max, which is quite fast, like 30-minute levels, but loads of good stuff to come. There's the 3.5k 3 million guarantee at the Wynn. There's the 1k tag team, and pretty soon it's going to be the main event. So that's the end of day 5, and I might actually have a profitable week. It is possible. Just finished day 6 of week 4. I started today playing the $600 mixed no limit hold'em Poly Omaha, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to play PLO. Everyone's just having a good time. It's a lot more casual. I had loads of interesting hands there. I howled with aces, I think twice. I got it in probably as bad as you can in PLO. I got it in with kings 7-2 against aces and kings. So I literally need like a flush or 7s and 2s. It's pretty sick.
You have live spades.
Oh my god, aces and kings.
You have live 7s. How does he got aces and kings? I need the 7-2 to get that. I like her hand.
I like my hand.
7-2? Did anyone fold any 7s or 2s? I got spades.
She's got spades. I like it. I had a pretty last hand.
Hey, the flop is 7-7-2.
Queens and fours. Queens and fours. Oh my god. Queens and fours. That's kind of dominated.
2 7s or 2 2s?
9s and 4s. 1 4.
The case says just finish this shit. Oh, I think we need spades.
9s and 4s.
Nah.
Oh my god.
I ended up busting semi-close to the money in the 600 in just like a boring way. I got it in pretty bad actually, with like jack 9 of hearts on 8-7, 2 hearts against a better flush draw, and he covered like all of my pairs, so that was pretty brutal. I went to play the 3k, and then I got in with 27 bigs. Sit down, not the greatest table, but not the worst table, and it's a turbo. I end up squeeze jamming ace jack versus like hijack open, button call. I just jammed my 26 bigs. And the guy that opened has kings, so that's my first entry. I re-enter, blinds have gone up a few times, so I'm down to like 16 bigs. I have like quite a spree of nice hands where I got to do like some overbet bluffs. I got there in some hands and got paid, and it was going really well. I got up to like 180k, and then I just had a series of really like awkward spots. This is a really tough spot. There's now 230 people left, 150 people paid, and it's going really quickly because it's 30-minute blinds and 6 max, so loads more hands. The button open jams for 68k. Big blind's 5 or 6k, I think it's 6k. The small blind tanks for ages, he has 250k, I've got 182k. And he calls the 68k all in. Now I'm in the big blind with pocket 7s. So in terms of just pure like chip EV, this is an absolute slam dunk, just jam, get it in. Like, I'm just doing way too well. Once the small blind, I shouldn't have much fold equity against, but he should just call and jam is effectively the same thing for him. If he went all in, I just never fold 7s in terms of chip EV, but we're really close to the money. Because it was a reg, I actually thought his call was on the weaker side. Like, yeah, he's still gonna call aces, kings, whatever, but I think people call to try and make it look stronger, especially when the difference is like 68 to 182. It doesn't look like he can fold anyway, so I think they just jam a lot of the time there. So it's more likely something marginal, at least that's what I was thinking. I ended up deciding that 7s was a fold and that 8s was the worst I should go with, because I think he's probably priced in, but I'm not sure, because he's got 250, so maybe he can fold to the extra like 115k with some hands. It's really hard to say, but I ended up folding. The guy that went all in had Jack 8 of hearts, the guy in the small blind had Ace 5 of spades, and Ace 5 gets there, but he did tell me he would have folded to the rejam, so a little bit annoying. I would have won like a huge pot there if I jammed, but I think the fold is right. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Very next hand, the cutoff goes all in. We're only playing 4-handed now, so the ante is massive. The ante's like 25% effectively when you're playing 4-handed. The cutoff goes all in for 77k at 5k big blind, and I'm in the small blind with a similar stack. I've got 177k. We're still really close to the money with Ace 6 of spades. So again, when the cutoff just open jams 15.5 bigs, when this is a massive ante, like this is just a slam dunk game with Ace 6 suited here in terms of chips. But again, we're close to the money. I decided to make the tight fold, and he told me he had Ace 2 suited later, so probably a chop, but who knows, maybe I would have won that hand. But again, another close spot. And then move to a new table. I fold for a bit. I don't really play any hands, and then it folds to the button. There's now 191 players left. He goes all in for 69k at 6k big blind, so he goes all in for 11.5 bigs. I'm in the small blind with 137k, so I have 23 big blinds with pocket threes. And again, I know it's slam dunk, chip EV, like just go with it, but there's loads of ICM. We're like 40 away and it might go semi-fast. It's probably in the money less than an hour, even if it slows down a lot. I wasn't sure. I decided to go all in with this one. Again, I'm not sure why. It's very similar to the other decisions where I'd made the passive approach. I was just thinking the last 2 ones I went more passive, and I saw that it would have gone well for me most likely if I'd have played more aggressively. So I don't know what it was, but I ended up going all in. I think it's close either way, but I think it's normally one I would have folded. I don't know what clicked in my head to make me go like freeze is the one this time, but I decided to go with it. And then the big blind had me covered, and he found pocket 9s.
6 of spades.
Chop it up.
Chop it up? Oh.
Need a lot of help to chop. No clubs.
So I busted, which is pretty brutal because like, I was going to get paid there so often given how fast it was going, and like even though I only had 23 bigs, the average stack is like not huge. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. But I'm already feeling quite a lot better about it. I mean, maybe it's some mistakes, like they're not like super crazy spots. I think I should have folded the threes in hindsight, but I guess it's easy to say when I bust. Like maybe the 7s I should have gone with, but it's so close either way. So I'm gonna just let it go. So I just finished week 4. On the last day, I went to play the $1,100 of the Venetian. Went pretty well. I ended up making day 2 with 25 bigs.
I just put my number on it. So
Kind of close to the money, which means, unfortunately, it was still a losing week. This week I played 7 tournaments and was down $3,774. So still the best week yet. Did feel like a good week. I had a nice deep run. More of the exciting tournaments are still to come, so it was nice to have a bit of an upswing in there. And I've got a day 2 still for tomorrow. Next week is going to be the 3.5K Wynn Championship, which should be a really great tournament. There's more World Series events all the time, of course, as well, like a 500, 600, 1K, loads of stuff. Another main event at the Venetian. There's just good stuff on literally every day, all the time. So that brings the total to 45 tournaments played, down $45,800 roughly. Still feeling surprisingly good. A few people have been asking me about it, but it's just relative problems. Like, I don't know, there's so much more suffering going on in the world. Like, this is relative to me. Obviously it's been going very badly in terms of me playing tournament poker live in Vegas, but it is also fairly likely that it goes pretty badly because that's how tournaments are. And I've spoken to a lot of players that I think are better than me that are losing more. I've spoken to a lot of players that I think are on a similar level that are also losing. Lots of players I think are maybe slightly worse that are losing, and random people that are winning heaps. So that's just the way it is with tournament poker. You keep signing up to the lottery and eventually you get an insanely big score and you live the dream, but most of the time you just have to keep grinding, and it's about turning up, and I'm going to keep turning up. So onwards to week 5 and leading up to the best event of the year, the 10K main event. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of the good stuff, and stay tuned for next week.